race the damn thing. That's why I built it. Good afternoon, guys. What's going on? What's cracking? Today is a house day. I'm actually out here in the garage. If you guys saw one of my last videos, you remember my sump pump failed. Well, my builder who built the house was actually kind enough to bring me a brand new one. This is both are cast iron. This one here failed, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, so I'm using my dad's. My dad had a spare one, thank God. This is a 3rd horsepower. And the new one is a 1/2 horsepower. Now it looks smaller, so it's a little weird. So yeah, hopefully that holds up. And I did put an alarm system on it now too. So if this one does fail, at least have a signal saying, hey, this failed, you need to get it replaced, get it done ASAP. So I'm happy for that, and I should be able to good to go. But let's get back to cars here. I just actually emptied my catch can after about, I don't know. God, I don't even know. The track day there, I guess, and then driving down to the track and making a bunch of highway pulls. I did notice I am getting a good bit of blow by. If you can see that here, see if I can get the cup to, there you go. So here's my hand for reference here, but it's a small cup, but that's probably 250 miles worth. Just about the same as what when Tony was just over here, about the same amount when we emptied his. So it said rear covers. I mean, again, like I said, guys, it's more for looks. So if I were to do it again, I would most likely keep the stock covers or get something where these fittings can be in the rear, but they shouldn't be here at this angle, because when this oil sloshes back, it's going right into there. If they were sitting on top, at least if it was hitting the back, all right, it can get sucked against there, but it's not going to go right through the lines. If it was sitting up on top and coming up and then routing over like this, at least it would just be hammered there, and it still would just give me true blow by. I'd be truly just getting the extra fuel and everything else out. One thing I wanted to mention too with that, so you probably just heard me say fuel, and like, well, how do you get fuel in there? I guess I don't want to go in depth on it, but you do get the blow by, you do get fuel and stuff, you do get moisture in there. Believe it or not, people say, you know, about water. The moisture actually does get into your motor and all that stuff. You'd be really surprised how much fuel and stuff gets in and past everything too, depending how rich you're running. So it's not just oil, it's a multitude of things. So yeah, I mean, it's a little grimy. I think after cruise week here, once I get back, I'm gonna change the oil again. Unlike most people, like I've said before, I change my oil a lot, just because it just seems like cheap insurance to me. So I just like to make sure the oil's safe. You know, I'd rather not be pushing it or anything. I contacted a company called Pure Oil or Pure All, or however you say it or whatever. They got back to me. I have to fill out a form, I guess, about getting some free oil from them, which is very kind of them. So I'm hoping to be working with them here in the future, do some more track days, do some more roll racing events with this car, because once again, as you guys said, you keep the cars nice. So I do appreciate the feedback on that, guys. I do appreciate the fact that you guys are on my side here, and like what I geared the channel towards, and that you're okay with, like, we don't need to see you drag racing, Ryan. You can do whatever you want. So I do appreciate that support as usual, guys. Again, too, the catch can on the car that people always ask about, this is made by Empire Performance. J-Bo up there makes me something new every year. I'm not sure if I'm going to replace it this year, just because I actually really like this one. The only thing I might change on it, let me zoom this back out here real quick. I might have him make the next one so it doesn't mount on top. I might have it set so it's a 2-piece system, so it mounts down here. We push this back just a little bit more so there's less gap here. I want this sucked back in as far as I can get it, but I like this stuck up design like this. I like how this comes up and over. I like the little mini filter like this because it breathes better. Most of them have that little hole, it has to come out to a big breather. This is actually a giant hole so it can breathe properly. You're not worrying about ventilation with this, period. If you need ventilation, this thing's got you. You're not gonna have a single problem with this. I just really like the design and the way it came out. But guys, the real reason for today's video is to work on this. We got to get the alternator out. Thanks again to TCS Motorsports for hooking me up. Again, he sent me an alternator he had laying around. It's in good condition, working order. The only thing I had to do was send him a case of Red Bull. So I'm going to do 2 things here. One, I'm going to remove this, and once I get this one removed, I'm going to try and find someone local to rebuild it, because this has a real Denso on it also. And the new one I'm getting is an authentic Denso too. You'd never want to use the cheapo one, so what I need to do is get down in there and get that guy right there. This is not going to be fun whatsoever. Luckily, I already moved my cruise control, so I don't have to screw with any of that. All I gotta do is reach down in there and try and loosen all this up. This should be, yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Plus, I have a stock exhaust. which is all one piece, which makes this a little bit harder. So I'm gonna have to take that off. I'm not even sure if this is gonna be working. I might have to drop the subframe some like they've talked about, because I don't have an aftermarket exhaust like most other people do. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll kind of give you guys step by step at a point to how to do this. Lucky for me too, guys, I do have the original Toyota book. I have the repair manual for the engine and everything. I also have the one for the chassis and all the electrical harnesses. So I'm very fortunate in that fact. So yeah, I'm just gonna dig through this here real quick, see how to do it. But I looked it up online. It seems pretty simple, but I just want to go through the book and see how they recommend it also. I like to always double, triple check and just make sure I'm doing it the right way. All right, guys, so I've got the car up in the air now. What I had to do first was this. I had to take two of the bolts that you guys can't probably see. See if we can get down in there. Come on. See if we zoom down in for you guys real quick. There's a bolt right there on top. It's probably gonna be hard to see. There's a bolt right there on top, and then on the back that you need to loosen up. And then now when I'm going through the bottom, there's a pivot bolt or a pivot bolt that you need to loosen up, and it'll allow it to sling forward. You'll be able to get the belt off. And then we need to take off the exhaust on the car. So there's a B pipe, a mid pipe, and all that junk. I do have wheel chucks in the front. I have the stands up here in the back. I just shook the car as best I could to make sure everything is sturdy, just because, well, I freak out in this kind of stuff. So yeah, so I made sure all that's up. I also, when I do this, you guys probably saw that my stands here are a little beefier than normal. These are actually truck stands. They're rated for something like 12,000 pounds. Why I use them is just to be extra safe. I know the car doesn't even, one of their stands can literally hold the entire car up, which is pretty crazy to think about. But I just use truck stands just to be safe, because you never know what could happen, and I don't want to take any of those chances. Well, this might be turning into an exhaust video also. Not today, but yeah, this thing is crusty and it has seen a lot better days. It's in a lot worse shape than I thought. So let me get under here for you guys. I'm gonna crawl my happy ass under here. See this flange right here? See if I can focus on it here real quick. This thing is, yeah. As soon as I pull those bolts out, they're gonna snap, but this thing has definitely seen better days. I'm gonna take it off anyways. I gotta take it off here. I gotta undo these bolts to undo this piece here. If I got the 3 bolts up there undone, I've undone the flange that's up top of there, and I've undone the dampener up top. But I need to get these 2 bolts out here and the 2 bolts out there for this to slide down. Yeah. This is I don't need to even get off. I just need to be able to pull it off to the side. Like, that's it. That's all I needed to do. But we'll see how this goes, because I know if I break these off, once those are snapped, this is going to rattle like an SOB. Like, it's going to be horrible. One thing I noticed too, though, is if you guys can see here, that thing is like super uber close. That does not seem like that should be that way. That's just my opinion, but you can see where it's been rubbing. I'd like to think from the factory it doesn't do that, but I mean, this is a stock exhaust. This is a stock turbo model. Just seems really weird, but I might just go ahead and hit up Ty and see if he can get me a Burke really for a good deal or something. I really don't even want to be dicking with this a second time. I'd just rather do it a one and done, get the new exhaust on here, sound better, because this thing's a little too quiet for me as it is. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this grill. I know some guys say they bend them up, some guys say they cut them off. So if I drop this exhaust off, I'm just going to take a grinder up in here. And if you guys can see, you can just cut up above that edge, take a grinder to it, and that'll be done. And this is permanently removed then. Some people don't prefer not to do that, some people do. So I think I'm just going to do that just because, well, I think that's the proper way of going about it, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll just go up along that edge there, hit all that. Just got to be careful not to hit this bumper, that's all. So, all right, that's what I want to give you the update. I'm still messing with the exhaust here, trying to get this done. Just always something. I'm glad I have this book, but typical of old cars, this is why I say, guys, see if I can get this thing to focus here again. This is why I always say, like, my next car I feel like needs to be newer, just because older cars, unless you're making a race car, you don't need it to fit right. But for street car stuff, you need everything to bolt back up and look correct. Race car stuff, you're like, oh, that's missing a bolt. Nah, screw it, doesn't matter. But when you got street cars, you got to make, in my opinion, making a street car in some aspects is harder than a drag car or a road race car. That's, again, my opinion, because I feel like when you do certain things when I see drag cars, when I see some road race cars, you can leave some things janky because you're like, it's not going to hear the street, rattles, cracks, creaks, it's not going to bother me. So that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with when you have a street car, because if you have those creaks and cracks or little things that are off, it's going to drive you crazy. So do a little bit more here. Hopefully get this done today, at least get the exhaust off of it, and at least move forward here. So I think I'm gonna step away the car for right now. I am able to get the exhaust off. It's gonna be a little interesting getting it back on, but getting back down in here again. Whoa. Let you guys look at my license plate. Oh God, I'm an idiot. So let's go under here, see if you guys can see this up in here. See that bolt right there? That guy right there. That is the lower pivot bolt for the alternator. I cannot break that loose, and you see the small amount of room you have to get a wrench in there. That's all. I thought about taking the wheel off, but you can't get to it from under the wheel because the brake and stuff, and then the suspension's in the way, so you'd have to remove everything. This is supposed to be just like easy. Whoever put it on last really cinched this thing down and it will not move. All right, guys, so I'm back out here in the garage again today, and if you can see, I have my Sawzall out because the exhaust, she's coming off. It's too rusted, and since I'm already gonna remove the B-pipe on it, well, this doesn't really have a B-pipe. I guess this would be when it unbolts the whole way down there. So all this is gonna be cut off now, and holy crap, this is 10 times better than my GoPro ever was. Good Lord, this is so much clearer. I'm cutting it right up here, if I can even see that. There's a cut line like right there. I don't want to touch it because it's hot. So I'm cutting this off right now, guys, and hopefully this goes smoothly. All right, guys, well, I'm past the point of return now. Went ahead and took a Sawzall to this bad boy and cut off the B-pipe, because if not, you have to get the car a little bit higher to actually wiggle it out. And this thing is so rusted, I wasn't gonna try messing getting the car up, taking any chances when I could just cut it off with my Sawzall. It took me literally, I don't know, a minute with a proper blade. Now, the only other thing next is getting this off. Let me get my big ass back under the car here. For these mounts up here, you can see they're held on with 2 bolts up here. So I'm not sure if I should unbolt that or if I should try sliding it out. Or no, I think that bolt's in there. It should just drop. Let me look up over here. I think that's the same way. So I think if I unbolt that, this thing should drop as one solid piece. Maybe I should have another person here just in case I drop that on my head. Just FYI, I've actually dropped an exhaust on my head before. Not the brightest point in my life, will admit. So let's go ahead and try this here. All right, so I got everything off except one bolt, and I could probably get it, but my buddy Cody is about to be here in a minute. The exhaust is it's just hanging out. It's just hanging right now. There's one bolt there. It's literally loose. I just got to pull it out, but it has tension on it with the weight of this. And I just took a shower because I'm an idiot, so I don't feel like getting dirty now. So I'm going to wait till he gets here to at least lift this side up. I can literally drop that bolt out while I hold this side, and it'll pull right out. So this will be all out. Now the next question is, which I'll probably already have this done before you guys even see this video, is do I cut this off or not? Do I keep this piece here or no? A lot of people seem to cut it just because you can see the full exhaust then. It just looks cleaner, but part of me doesn't want to, so I'm kind of up in the air. I'll probably post up on the Facebook pages and see what everyone else thinks. Well, thanks to my main man Cody here, helped me drop this off there, so the entire old exhaust is off now. It looks weird not having anything back here. Makes it look cleaner, in my opinion. So now I need to get an exhaust for it. I'm probably just gonna get an eBay exhaust so it can be nice and loud, but yep, that's all off now. See if this will even focus up here. Most of this is pretty clean. It could be a little bit better, I guess. But yeah, it looks pretty darn good. Happy, yeah. Now it's off, me happy. I also got the connector off of the alternator. Only thing I have to do is get up here. I just got to go inside here for tonight, so I'll get back at this here tomorrow. But I have to go down there, and there's one bolt I need to remove up top here, and that should fall out. And I'll be able to put the new one in once it gets here from TCS. All right, sitting here with my wife right now. She just finished up her little project, making the furniture per usual. You good job, Bella. Look, she's so happy. But guys, did get the alternator out. Yeah, she's out now. With a little bit of pain, I actually had to hit it with the bar there because the bottom, I guess this has never been out is what I'm assuming. This bottom piece here was just wedged in there so tight. I mean, no matter how much you rocked it back and forth, it was not moving. But I did find a new issue, guys, and I thought this was all oil, and it's not. It's another issue. So if you guys can see this right here, it's kind of hard to tell, but if you can see this right here, that is actually part of the axle, the hub assembly there. It's been slinging grease everywhere. This is horrible, absolutely horrible. There is oil leaking all out of this motor. The motor needs to be pulled, that's one thing, but it's the axle boots are fine on both. It's this like little, can you guys see this here? I'm not even sure what this is called. I guess it's the hub adapter itself is slinging oil out of it. So I guess it's coming through the boot and coming out the adapter, and it's slung all up the motor, all up top of the engine pan here, and it was all over the alternator. Now, I'm hoping it's not completely dry in there yet, but I need to get this off next, which is not going to be fun. I have to pull the bolts off of that side, and then I'm not sure if I have to pull this shaft out also. I have to double check that. Shouldn't be bad for the shaft part because that just bolts out there, bolts up there, and I'm assuming this just slides out and this is a spline in here is what I'm assuming. I'll have to ask Ty, or just I have my Toyota book I can look, but it's usually easier just to ask Ty because he's done all this a million times. It's kind of nice having him as a reference because he's done this so much. But yeah, that needs to come off next, so that means I got to pull the hub apart, pull the axle out, which it's so funny. The axles of this thing are really short, and number two is, these axles, like I just measured them, they're actually thicker than my Toyota Supra axles. These things are beefy. I did see that if you replace the axle cages on these, they can handle a stupid amount of power from the factory. So it's pretty cool to hear about that, and this is going to be awesome to see when it's all said and done. And maybe I'll throw the axle cages in it so I can launch this car some and just beat the heck out of it. Because we know the transmission's strong. The only really weak link is that. Alright guys, so I just got back from Advanced Auto here. I wanted to take off the alternator just to make 110% sure it was no good. And I took it up in my nice Kohl's box here. We had to get a certain part number. Where was it at? I think this is for a CarQuest one, just to try and test it because they didn't obviously have the part number for the Toyota battery, or not battery, for the alternator here. We put it on there and it started smoking and it failed. We tried it 3 times just to make sure and it failed all 3 times. So it is no good, which is kind of a good thing, honestly, because I was worried if it's not that, it has to be ground somewhere, be hunting down something. Is it expensive? Like, damn, that sucks, yes. But thankfully for Ty, TCS helping me out, I don't really have to worry about it. He's sending me something for, like I said, a case of Red Bull. Can't really beat that. Yes, it's another used one, but if it's good, it shouldn't be really an issue. And now that I got the stock exhaust off, this should be a lot easier. And now that I've done it once, I know what I'm gonna do to try and make this a little bit easier. Next thing I'm gonna do too is contact Hux Racing and see if they can send me over a lightweight bracket. If not, no big deal, but I'm gonna go ahead and try and contact them too and see about getting one of those in while everything's apart. It just seems to really make sense to do that. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. As usual, I appreciate all the support. If you can do me for a big favor and show me support, go check out the Facebook page and go check out the merchandise page. I got new hats. These are the old shirts, but I got new shirts in stock. I've got hoodies now in stock. Only large is left, guys. I've got large hoodies left wherever you're at in the world, or if you like wearing hoodies all year round, I have some larges left in stock. They're really, really nice. I'm really happy with the way they turned out too. I've got key tags. I've got all that good stuff, so go check it out down below, or you can hit the little flag thingy, as I call it, up here. So guys, thank you very much for all your help and support, and I'll talk to you later. Peace!